Okay, so the topic that I'm going to explain today is interaction with foreign visitors, which is the last topic of this unit, of the third unit. So, whenever we interact with any foreign visitor or any foreign client, okay, the most common modes of communication are face to face communication, email, telephonic conversations, conference calls over telephone, video conferencing, and chat. Alright, so we generally use these mediums to communicate with the foreign clients or the foreign visitors. So if the person is uh, like if we can reach the person personally, so we will go for a face to face communication, or if it is not possible, if we cannot meet the person personally, then we will go for the other options such as emails, telephonic conversations, then video conference, or conference calls over the telephone, or chat. All right, and now, what are the things you need to take care of when you interact with a foreign visitor? You need to take care of certain things when you interact with a foreign visitor. So let us see what are the things. We are all human beings, so uh, like we need to, apart from the general or the basic etiquettes, we also need to maintain certain other things whenever we are interacting with somebody who is not from our country, because uh, uh, their culture, their etiquettes might be a little different from us. So that is why we should be a little careful about it. Like we should be extra careful about it whenever we interact with foreigners, whenever we interact with foreign clients, and also because we have to, like we have to build a good relationship with that foreigner, with the foreign client, with that company, and we need to build a good rapport. Along with that, we need to also do the business. So that is why we need to build a good and a good relationship. Along with, we need to also build trust. So that is why, because they are from a different country, because their culture is different, because their tradition is different, so we need to be extra careful when we communicate with the foreign clients. So let us see what are the points that we should take into consideration whenever we communicate with a foreign client. So I had already, explained you the business etiquette. I had already explained you a lot of things related to business and work etiquette and other etiquettes as well. So besides the regular business etiquette, besides the regular etiquettes or work etiquettes, there are certain points to bear in mind while communicating with foreign clients. All right. So let us now see what are the points that we need to consider whenever we interact with a foreign client. So the first one is cross cultural sensitivity. So we must take care of it. We must be sensitive towards the differences in the cultures. All right, because uh, you are a person who belongs to a different culture, who is from a different place, and the person you are interacting with, that person is from another country, from a different country, and his traditions are different, his culture is different. So we should be a little sensitive towards differences in the culture, and we should not hurt anyone. We should not hurt the tradition or culture of any person. So that is why we should be careful regarding it. And of course, we all individuals are different in our own ways. All individuals are unique in our own ways. But whenever we interact with a foreign client, we know that they are different from us, because of the cultural differences. They are a lot different from us because of the cultural differences. So that is why we need to we need to balance we need to balance the conversation, and along with that we also need to see what is good and what is bad. You should not make them feel offended. You should not offend them. You should not make them feel offended by saying something that can hurt their sentiments. So that is why one should always do a little research regarding the culture, regarding the background of the person. Whenever a person interacts with a foreign client, just before the conversation, the person, the other person should always do a little research about the culture, about the tradition of the foreigner or of the foreign client, which will help the person to basically maintain that decency, to maintain a good professional relationship with the person, and also the person will not be hurting the foreign client. So that is why we must take care of we must take care of the cultures. We must consider the cultures and the traditions, and we must be sensitive towards the differences in the cultures. So, and try to understand differences in the differences, and try to understand the differences, and do not hurt the sentiments of the other person, and just accept the way they are. That is going to definitely help to communicate with the other person. So the first point is to be sensitive towards the differences of the cultures, to take care of the client, and to understand that we are different from one another because of the because of the different because of the different cultures, because of the different traditions. So both the individuals who are from different places, who are from different countries, are different from one another, and you should always try to respect the cultural differences, and accept accept it while communicating with the other person. Understood? Next is understand their background. Okay. So now, whenever you are communicating with a foreign client, you need to definitely understand their background. So, as I had already said, you need to do a little research about their culture, about their country, to know the common things about the culture, to know the different things about the culture, so that you do not hurt the other person, so that you do not hurt the sentiments of the other person. So that is why it is suggested to do a little research about their origin, about their country, and uh, about their culture, just to avoid any kind of misunderstanding, just to avoid any kind of conflict. So that is why it is suggested to understand their background. And how will you be able to understand their background? By doing a little research. You cannot just go and ask that person that about their country or about his background, isn't it? So what you have to do is you can do a little research regarding the country, regarding the tradition, regarding the culture of that particular place. And that you can do on Google itself. So you don't have to ask anybody. You do not have to, like seek help from anyone. You can find a lot of information regarding the country, regarding the culture, regarding the tradition on the internet itself. And if you know somebody, from that place, and if you already know someone who is from a similar background, then definitely you can seek help. You can definitely uh, ask for certain information regarding the culture, regarding the tradition. But if not, then you don't have to worry about that. You can just search on the internet about their country, about their tradition, about the business etiquettes they follow. The next is business and social etiquette. So etiquette is something that that actually helps in impressing a person. It helps to make a good impression. It is definitely something that you need to consider when you have a conversation with uh, someone who is from a different country. So you need to be gentle, you need to have a good time with the client, you need to make the client feel comfortable, and you need to treat the client properly, have a conversation with the client in a very good way, in a polite way, in a gentle manner, and meet and greet the person properly. So those are some of the simple things that you need to take care of when you meet a foreign visitor or a foreign client. So you have to take care of these things whenever you meet anyone. So especially when you meet a foreign visitor, uh, you need to take care of, you need to, as I had said, you need to take a little extra care of them, because they are from a different culture, they are from a different place. So that is why you need to be a little extra careful. So the first 2 points I had already, in the first 2 points I had already explained that you need to do a little research about their background and try to understand their background, so that you can use it while you meet the person, when you have a conversation with the person. And then you need to also understand and value their culture, and also also respect respect the differences and the traditions and the culture of the other person. And apart from this, you need to maintain certain etiquette, because etiquette is definitely something that will help you in making a good impression, and you will be able to make a good relation with the person. So simple courtesies like standing up when a lady comes to meet you, and then shaking hands whenever you meet somebody. While you're greeting somebody, you can also shake hands, because shaking hands is a way of greeting people. Then especially in case of ladies and elders, you need to open the door, so it is one of a good it is considered to be a good manner. Then maintain the dining etiquette. Then also make the client feel comfortable, be happy, and ensure that you are communicating properly with the person, ensure that the person is not bored, ensure that you are maintaining a proper body language, and ensure that you are creating a good environment for the other person. And also, do not show any kind of negative attitude, do not show tantrums, do not bring ego in between the client and you. And so these are the basic etiquettes, basic business and social etiquettes that you need to follow. Though overall the business and the social etiquettes are similar, apart from a few things. So that few things you're going to understand when you will do a little research about the country. But otherwise, the business and the social etiquettes are quite similar in all the countries. And another thing, there should be a smile on your face. Smile doesn't mean that you have to show 32 teeth. You have to show your 32 teeth. Just have to maintain a good facial expression. There should be a smile on your face, and you should make the client feel comfortable, as I had already said, and also create a good environment, so that the client is happy and satisfied. While you're talking about business, you need to also make the client feel comfortable and happy. All right, so this is how you can communicate, you can interact with a foreign visitor. The fourth point is participate in communication So this is one very important thing. I have been repeatedly using this word communication, communication, communication. So do not feel shy from asking any questions or seeking any kind of clarification. They are human beings. They are just like us. At the end of the day, we all are human beings. So there might be certain differences, and there might be certain differences because of the cultures, because of the different places, because of different traditions. But at the end of the day, we are human beings. So that is why you don't have to be afraid, or you don't have to be afraid of the other person, and do not be shy from asking any kind of questions. If you have some kind of doubts, do clear it. And which if you have some kind of doubt, and if you do not ask, and if you do not clarify that thing, this particular thing is going to lead to confusion later. So that is why you are supposed to clarify things whenever you are having the conversation with the other person, when when you're having the conversation with the foreign client. So participate in communication, do communicate properly. Do not just feel like that he's a foreigner or she's a foreigner, he or she might not like to answer to my questions, or he or she would not like to clear my doubts. Do not think in that way, because whenever you are having a conversation, sometimes definitely you might have certain doubts, and you might need certain kind of clarification. So if the doubt is not clear, so then that is going to lead to confusion. So that is why you are supposed to you're supposed to ask questions, and you're supposed to seek clarifications, so that you can understand everything, so that your client can understand everything. So that is why communication is very necessary. Do not be shy. Do not just keep quiet, or do not just listen. Take part in the conversation. Take part. You tell, you give information, you tell about the particular thing that you want to say, and you also give information, you seek information. So in that way, there won't be any confusion, and there won't be any doubt. The next point is be sensitive. So you need to be a little sensitive, extra sensitive, because of the cultural differences. So like as I had already said, you need to be a little sensitive regarding the culture and regarding the culture and the tradition of the person. So yeah, you have to be sensitive towards the culture and the tradition of the person, and do not say anything that is going to hurt the sentiments of the other person. Do not no, do not make do not uh, just make the other person, the client, feel uncomfortable. So it's your duty to make the client feel comfortable, and you are supposed to do everything that requires to make the client feel comfortable. Next is ethics and values. So follow the basic ethics and values. We are all human beings. We have some ethics, we have some values, and follow the ethics and the values, such as punctuality, such as the ethical business practices. So you need to follow these kind of ethics and values, and these ethics and values are these are practiced everywhere and are universally appreciated. Punctuality is universally appreciated, while in India people tend to be late, but you should always try to be on time. You should always try to be punctual. So that is why punctuality is something that is appreciated universally. You should always try to be punctual, and there are other ethical business practices are also appreciated, something that is within the law, something that is not illegal. And so these things are appreciated universally. These things are appreciated all over the world. So because at the end of the day we are all human beings, so that is why practice good values, practice good values and ethics, and that is going to definitely help you build a good relationship with the client, and also to impress the client. So these are some of the ways that you should consider. These are some of the things that you should consider, points that you should consider while meeting somebody from a foreign country, especially when the person is a client. So you should consider these things. So now I will be talking about the modes of communication. So at the beginning, I had already said in the beginning itself that there are different modes of communication with the foreign clients, like face-to-face communication, emails, telephonic conversations, conference calls over phone, video conferencing, and chat. Now let us see face to face communication. So, whenever you are having a conversation with the client, with the foreign client, especially in case of face to face communication, be aware of your non-verbal, be aware of your body language and also of your dressing sense. Okay, so be aware of your body language. Your body language should be good, it should be something that is good. You should not look tired, you should not look depressed, you should not look frustrated, you should look confident, you should look active. So your body posture, your gestures, your facial expressions, even your tone, your volume, everything should be on point. You should take care of all these things, and also your dressing sense. You cannot just wear anything and you cannot just wear anything and go to meet your client. You should look professional, because the first thing a person notices is what you are wearing, how you are looking. Now, looking does not have anything to do with the shape, size, color of the person, all right? You can be of any shape, you can be of any size, you can be of any color. That does not matter. Looking good has nothing to do with shape, size, and color. The way you dress up, the way you present yourself, that is related to looking good. You need to wear clean clothes. It's okay if you do not wear expensive clothes. You don't have to wear expensive clothes every time, but you need to wear clean and pressed clothes. Your clothes must not have any wrinkles. You must wear clean and pressed clothes. Your shoes must be polished. You must have a good haircut. Your hair must be done properly. Your, you must not look dirty. You must not look dirty. You must look fresh. So you should take care of what you're wearing, how you're looking. You should take care of the personality along with your body posture, your gestures, your facial expressions, etc. Even your tone, whenever you are having a conversation, you need to take care of the tone that you're using, your volume, the pauses, everything. Everything. You need to take care of all these things. And if you're hosting, if you are the host, if you're hosting the client for a meal, then you must understand and know their food preferences. You cannot just provide them Indian food. If they might not be able to eat it, they might not be able to have it. So, because we Indians, we prefer to eat a lot of spicy food, whereas Americans, they do not prefer spicy food, isn't it? So, if you offer an American spicy food, he or she might not be able to eat it properly. He or she might not, might not be contented. So that is why you must understand their food preferences, and you must order it accordingly, according to their choice. All right, and you must know whether your client is a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian. So you should take care of all these things whenever you are having a face-to-face communication. Whenever you personally meet the person, you need to take care of the food, you need to take care of your body language, you need to take care of your dressing sense, and you need to take care of the place where you are taking your client to. So you need to take care of these things. All right. Next is avoid talking about political, religious, and personal issues. So just avoid these topics. These are controversial topics, so avoid any kind of controversial topics. You can like initiate a conversation about the culture, about the history, about the beauty of the place, about the tradition, about the rich heritage, rich culture, about weather, about sports, about tourism, about all these things. The conversation should not be something uh, that is related to a controversial topic. Then you will end up fighting with one another. Then you'll end up uh, you might have a misunderstanding, you might have a conflict. So that is why do not talk about any controversial topic, rather than pick up for good and healthy topics and try to initiate a conversation in that way. All right. Then regarding emails, whenever you are using emails, whenever you are mailing, okay, whenever you're sending a mail, whenever you are supposed to send the mail, avoid short forms. Okay, do not use short forms. You might understand the short form, the other person might not understand the short form, especially in case of foreigner. So Guwahati, we in short, what do we write? GHY. So how a foreigner is going to understand what is GHY? You need to write down the full form whenever you are writing an email. And do not see, as you can see this, do not shout. Now, what does this mean is that do not write everything in capital letter and block letters, okay? As I think I had already explained to you how to write a mail. So you are supposed to follow the appropriate mail format, and you are not supposed to write everything in capital letter. You need to just write down the initial should be capital, and then rest of the letters should be small, just the way we write in our copies. Everything should not be in capital. Okay, so these are the things, and there are other etiquettes related to mail as well, and I'll be discussing about it later on. Then telephonic conversations. Regarding telephonic conversations, speak slowly and do not put a fake accent. Okay, if you're talking with an American, do not try to be an American. Do not try to fake an accent. Okay, the other person is going to understand that, so do not fake an accent. You have an Indian accent, I have an Indian accent. I will be talking in that way itself. I will not fake an accent, because that looks, that is something too funny. That is not too appealing, and the other person is not going to appreciate that. So that is why do not fake an accent. So, however you speak in that way itself, and try to speak slowly so that the other person can understand, because you have a different accent, the other person has a different accent, and if you're too fast, then you won't be able to understand what the other person is saying, what you are saying. So, there will be miscommunication. So, that is why speak slowly and clearly, maintain clarity. And especially for clarity, you should summarize the conversation in an email later on. Why? Because sometimes what happens is that whenever you are having a conversation with a foreign client, the other person might not understand a few things. So there are chances that the other person might not understand a few things, and so that is why you're supposed to send a email, a summary of everything in an email, and also to just let the other person know that this were the topics that we had discussed, and also to remember it, also to remind the other person, and also it's good for you itself, so that later on you can check the email and you can see that yes, these were the topics and these were the things we had discussed. So that is why you're supposed to summarize the conversation in an email, and also confirm the points that you have agreed to work upon. So suppose the conversation had last for half an hour, so you had talked you had discussed about various things. Some things you had agreed to, and some things you had not. So you need to provide the summary, as well as you need to also write down the points that you have agreed to work upon. So this is how you need to carry on a telephonic conversation, and this is how you need to this is what you need to do after the telephonic conversation is over. All right. Conference calls over telephone. Now sometimes you also have conference calls over telephones, which is uh, a kind of a meeting, which is kind of a meeting where there are more than where there are three or more than three people. If two people, if there are only two people, if you and the client and there's only one client on the other side, then there's no need of a conference call. If there is three, if the number of people is more, that means if there are three people, if there are more than three people, then you need to make a conference call. So whenever you are having a conference call, whenever you are having a conversation with more than three people on a conference call, introduce yourself. And before if you are the host, then introduce yourself before speaking, and start the conversation, give a little introduction, and then start the conversation. And even if you are not the host, you are supposed to give your introduction before speaking. In the initial stage, you don't have to give your introduction all the time. Every time you are saying something, you don't have to give your introduction, but for the first time, in the initial stage, you need to give your introduction. So for example, I'm the first person who is hosting the meeting, so I will be the one who will be giving the introduction. Then you are the second person, so you are supposed to tell your name. I am this, I am ABC. And then you can I am from this, and then you can just start with your conversation. If you're talking to two different people from two different organizations, two different people from two different organizations, and if you are also from a different organization, if three of you are from different organizations, then if you are the second person who who is saying something, then you should tell your name. Along with that, you should also tell the name of your organization, that I am from this organization. If not, if the other persons are aware of where are you from, then it's okay, then you don't have to say, but you have to say your name. You need to introduce yourself, and by saying your name. And it depends upon the situation. Totally, it depends upon the situation, how you give your introduction. But for the introduction, the name is something that remains constant. All right. And during the call, if you are having a conversation with someone else during the call, then put your phone on mute. Put your phone on mute, so that the other two persons who are having a conversation with one another, they are not disturbed. So that is why, put your phone on mute if it is an emergency. All right. And if you are the person who is leading the call, you should mail an agenda before the call. There should be an agenda before the call, and you should also, as I had already said, after the call, you should share the minutes of the meeting of the call. So you should summarize everything, and you should send an email. So similarly, even if you are having a conference call, even if you are not having a conference call, it does not matter. You're supposed to send the minutes of the call after the call, if you are the person who is leading the call. All right. Next is video conferencing. Again, you can see the other person can see you. So you have to take care of your body language, your attire, and you need to be alert and aware of your body language and whatever you are wearing. So you need to be dressed properly. Regarding telephonic conversations, telephonic calls, you don't have to dress properly. It's okay even if you don't dress up properly. But regarding video conferencing, you have to dress up properly. You need to maintain a proper body language, and you have to be alert. And also avoid eating, drinking in the middle of the conference, and maintain a proper body language and have a conversation properly. Then chat is kind of a informal mode of contact. So generally you don't talk about business or formal things. But of course you can chat. You can use the messaging apps, the chatting apps, for exchanging certain information or messages. So if it is related to if the conversation is related to work, do not use the language short forms. if you are just casually talking with each other, then that's up to you how you are having a conversation. But whenever you are actually having a conversation regarding work, suppose on WhatsApp, then do not avoid the short forms and be a little formal. Then the last thing is to improve your English. So the mode of communication, the language that we are supposed to use, we will be using when we communicate with others is English, isn't it? So we don't know Spanish, we don't know French, we don't know any other language. So what are we going to use? We are going to, some of you might know, but how many languages do you know? So if you are not aware of the language of that country, if you do not know about the language of that country, what are you supposed to do? You will be, of course, having a conversation on English. So that is why try to improve your English, your grammar, especially in case of written communication. In written mode, you have to take care of the grammar. You have to write correctly, write everything correctly, and while you're having a verbal communication, while you're having an oral communication, so you must be able to fluently speak in English. And so that is why you need to improve your English, learn grammar, and improve your English. So for that, what you can do, you need to read as much as possible, listen to English lectures, watch English videos, watch English series, films, read, keep on reading, try to write. After you read it, try to summarize it and write it in your own words. So in this way, you will be able to improve your English. And try to have a conversation in English, and try to think in English. That is, so what do you do? Whenever we think in our native language, we think in our mother tongue, isn't it? So what do we have to do to improve our English? Try to think in English, and that is going to help you to improve your English. Think in English, and then try to also have conversations in English whenever it is possible. So these are the basic things that you need to maintain when you have a conversation, when you interact with any foreign client. So that's all for today. Do you have any doubts regarding anything that I had explained today?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then, so go through the notes, read it, and if you have any doubts, do let me know. As I always say, if you have any doubts, do let me know. Go through the notes. Okay, students, then I'll end the class. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. See you in the next class. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.